Hey, what's up dudes? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Dead by Daylight video. Today we're going to be talking about Slenderman and whether or not I think he could come into the game. Now if you haven't watched one of these videos before, we have done them on a few different characters and franchises. What we'll mainly be basing everything on is community popularity. How popular is this character within the Dead by Daylight community? Franchise popularity. How popular is this franchise outside of the Dead by Daylight community? Dev support. Do the devs want him? Have the devs talked about wanting him? And whether or not the character has been previously teased. Now I do want to let you guys know at the beginning of this video, if I do sound a little rough, it's because I've been sick for the past couple of days, so I hope you can look past the nasally voice and the overall low energy. But before we completely jump into this, if you guys were updated, informed, or entertained by this video, please consider dropping a like on the video. Helps out a ton with visibility and means a lot to me. And also, if you want more Dead by Daylight content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. That also means a ton to me, and we're getting really close to 20k, which is absolutely crazy. Thank you all so much. But let's go ahead and jump into this one. So we're going to get the dev talk out of the way first. Have the devs talked about him? Do the devs themselves want him? Well, I haven't been able to find anything personally about the devs talking about the character. There could be something out there very obscure and hard to find, but I searched pretty good and well on multiple different days for this character to see if the devs have actually talked about him, and I can't really find anything at all. So that pretty much knocks out whether the devs have actually talked about him, and it kind of leaves us in the dark to know whether they actually want the character or not, like whether the devs themselves think Slenderman is interesting and cool enough to be added into this game. But again, like I say, for some of these characters, that's not an immediate red flag. A lot of the characters, licensed characters that we have in this game, weren't previously talked about, and they were just kind of added without the devs ever saying anything about them. But then that moves us to community popularity. How popular is this character within the Dead by Daylight community? Well, I've found some pretty mixed answers. A lot of people view this character as just a creepypasta meme on the internet from 2012, and then there's some other people out there who really enjoy this character as a piece of horror fiction media, whatever you want to call it. There are a lot of people out there who view this character like this, but this is kind of what happens with anything. It's currently what's happening with Springtrap as well, with a lot of people thinking FNAF is just for kids, and then the FNAF community is like, hey man, that's not true, we want this character, it fixed. So there's a lot of that going on with a few different characters. Overall, I'd say from what I've seen, the community is leaning more towards wanting the character opposed to not wanting the character. You're gonna have those people in every community for anything that you want that's always going to not want it and talk nothing but crap about it. So that's always to be expected. There's only been a few characters that I can think of that have had overwhelming support to be added into the game, and one of those characters is Chucky, which we'll be talking about very soon. And I think that kind of goes along with franchise popularity as well. This character, the story did start on the internet in 2012. It was uploaded to like a horror story website, but since then there has been a ton of popularity built around the character. There was just a full feature film made about the character in 2018. There's been multiple official video games made about the character, and one that I really think made the character popular back in 2012, Slender the 8 Pages. I think that's what really soared the character into popularity. So the character is actually really popular. He's popular enough to have a movie made, which is more than some can actually say. So there's no denying that there's popularity behind the character. And then our last criteria to really cover is teases. Has he been previously teased? And some people do think that there was slight teases towards Slenderman around when Trickster was coming out. There was some audio files released, and a lot of people were hearing a few different things along the lines of what was going on with the Hellraiser and Springtrap debate for this most recent chapter, but it ended up being the Trickster. But some people thought they heard in the actual audio files released the Slenderman static, even though it really conflicted with every tease shown prior to that. A lot of people were still hearing that static. So technically, no, he hasn't been outright teased before in the way that like a character like Candyman or even now Springtrap has been, but there have been some maybe red herrings in some cases for previous teases. But there are a few other things that we definitely have to discuss when it comes to this character, and there's a few things that could definitely keep him out of this game. Not the ones that you'll probably end up thinking, but the first one is a stabbing incident. Back in 2016, I think it was, or 2014, a 12-year-old girl was stabbed 19 times by two of her classmates who said that Slenderman told them to do it, or that they were sacrificing this little girl up to Slenderman, whoever. A lot of people seem to think that that will keep him out of the game, And I have to disagree there, in my opinion. Yes, it's a horrible thing that happened, but it's outside of the character, technically, and outside of the creator's control. It's not like the Jeepers Creepers situation where the dude who created the character is literally a convicted child molester. It's nothing like that. This was something out of the creator's control. And if we went on the logic of this incident keeping a character out of Dead by Daylight, then we really have to use the same logic for what's been told to everybody since video games became violent back in the 90s, since we got rated M video games, rated R video games, in saying that it was a video game's fault that a kid went out here and tried to reenact the video game, whether it was Grand Theft Auto or Saints Row. I heard at one point in time. I think that's a little funny that they would defend it back in the day, but now because it's something that they don't like, they're going to use this specific thing that happened out of the creator's control to try to stonewall something that they just don't like out of a game. There's so much conflicting points of views when it comes to everything that's happened to Slenderman, opposed to everything that people have defended in the past when it came to similar incidents. The next major thing is probably the argument that I could agree with the most, and that is the overall character design conflicts with Dead by Daylight. If you guys know anything about Slenderman, you'll know that this character never actually touches his victims. He teleports, and you never technically at all, I think, see him actually touch anyone. Teleports around, your screen goes static, and you die. That's basically everything that happens. So I don't know how it would work in Dead by Daylight. They'd have to figure out all new animations and everything else, which technically they just did for Hellraiser, as mostly every other killer in the game has to touch a pallet to break it. Pinhead does not, and that's the same when it comes to picking up a character. He uses chains to pick up a character. Now, we'd still have to figure out a way around putting that character on your shoulder and seeing Slenderman with a Meg on his shoulder walking her to the hook. We definitely still have to figure out a way around that, but I think it can be done. Although I don't think it's likely, in my opinion. They'd have to rework a lot of how the game works just for this character. And I don't think the character is on the popularity of a character like Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger or Leatherface to actually be worth changing the game entirely around for. While the character is popular, he's not cult classic horror icon popular, and I don't see them changing their game around for something that's not that. They also have to figure out a way, like I said, to work around him never actually touching anyone when it comes to hitting people. He could definitely be a Nurse 2.0 of sorts, where he just teleports close enough multiple times and it does enough static damage to do a hell state. Maybe that could work in some way, shape, or form, but then there's so many other variables there that wouldn't make a ton of sense, especially when it came to how Dead by Daylight works with the loops. It'd almost be impossible to stay in the zone that you would need to as Slenderman to do a hell state with a survivor running around a loop, and that would mean that the zone would have to be pretty big, which could end up being really overpowered. So you never really know, and I do think that is a conflict design with the game itself, and that's something we can't really do anything about. So I'm not really sure where to stand on this character. This was actually one of the characters that scared me the most growing up. You would think it'd be Freddy Krueger or Michael Myers or something like that. No, I was in about 8th grade when Slenderman got popular, and it scared the holy hell out of me personally. So it's definitely a character I'd like to see if they can figure out a way around it, but it's not really a character I'm dying to have in the game. Another thing worth mentioning is not a lot of people actually know who owns the rights to Slenderman, but it's not that hard to find actually. The rights are currently owned by Mythology Entertainment, and that is owned by James Vanderbilt, and it's the same company / owner that produced the 2018 Slenderman movie. So we do know who owns it, we do know who Dead by Daylight would actually have to go to get the rights. So it's not like Slenderman is public domain and anyone and everyone could use it. They would have to go get the rights. Some people still think he's public domain for some reason, but no, he is owned by Mythology Entertainment, James Vanderbilt's production company, and they have an agreement with Sony, or have one, to make the Slenderman movie. I do want to know what you guys think about Slenderman in the comments down below, so let me know. Do you want this character in the game? Would you like him to stay away? Is there anything that you personally think could keep him out, and was there anything I missed in my research? Let me know all of that in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry I've been a monotone sick boy through this entire video. Hopefully I get better soon and you guys won't have to hear this for much longer. But again, thank you all for watching the video. My name is Tootin. I've been your host, and I'll see you dudes next time. Peace out.